One of my favorite genre of videos is from my friend Nico Leonard, who does an annual brand tier list, essentially ranking his favorite watch brands from least to worst. And so today I wanted to share in that and provide you guys with my own brand tier list. So let's get right into it. Now, of course, this brand tier list is going to be completely subjective. Of course, it's totally opinion-based. And I love Nico's videos specifically related to this, simply due to the fact that he shares his unbiased, unfiltered opinion about watch brands, their future, their current outlook, and of course, what they're doing and what he hopes for them to do. And so I wanted to do kind of a similar video in a similar vein and just kind of share my thoughts on different watch brands and where I think they rank quality-wise versus others in the industry. So let's start off with the first brand, A. Lange & Söhne. I'm sure it's going to come to no surprise that they are an S-tier brand, right up there with the very best in the industry. And I would put them right up there with pretty much any independent in the industry. I think they just make some of the best watches out there. Akrivia, likewise, another S-tier brand, somewhat of a newer brand, an independent watch brand, headed by Recep Recepi, who is an incredible independent watchmaker, has made tremendous strides and is really doing some groundbreaking work, both in terms of complication, but especially in terms of watch finishing. One of the hardest things to do is creating simple watches and executing them at a really, really high level, and he's doing that maybe the best in the industry right now. Audemars Piguet, again, likewise, one of the best in the industry. I know some people will say, oh, they're maybe not so highly qualified like they used to be. I think that is complete bogus. They're without a doubt an S-tier brand, and they've shown that they're an amazing watch brand that people should definitely respect, not just for their watchmaking, not just for their designs, not just for the royal oak, but everything in between. Next up is Ball. I'm going to put them right around that kind of C-ish tier. They're kind of a mid-level brand. I think they have great quality, great value for money. Baltic, I'm going to put also right around that C tier. Again, it's not going to be kind of the same level. I'd put Ball slightly above Baltic, but they make kind of similarly priced products. And I think both are really high quality for the price point. Baume & Mercier, likewise, I'm going to put them right at that kind of C tier. I don't think that they're going to push up there into the B where Rolex and Tudor and other watch brands are going to participate at, but I still think that they're very high quality. Bell & Ross, likewise, I think that's pretty easy for me. That's going to be another C tier. Blancpain for me is going to be a B tier. That might be a little shocking considering their prices are a little bit higher, their quality a little bit better than kind of your average watch, if you will, but they just do so much that irks me. You know, for example, 50 fathoms, not in 40 millimeters, and a bunch of other things that just don't sit well with me, and so I'm going to put them at the B tier. Breguet, S tier brand, one of the best in the industry. Actually, the journalist Periscope recently released an article about Blancpain, their history, citing that the brand was actually found in 1815, not in 1735, which makes Vacheron the oldest in 1755 and Breguet the second oldest, having started in 1775. Incredible history, without question, one of the best brands in the industry, so it has to be an S-tier brand. Breitling, I'm going to put also in that B tier. I love their B01 movements, love the Navitimer, all-time great watch, and I definitely feel that they belong in that B tier. Bulgari, incredible complications, incredible style. I love the Octo Finissimo. I'm going to put them at the A tier. I think they're slightly kind of higher level, especially with their grand complication stuff that they do, so they definitely belong in the A tier, but I wouldn't put them in the S tier category where kind of your higher level independents are operating at. Bulova, pretty entry-level watch brand. I'm going to put them at D tier. I think that's totally fair considering, but again, quality for money is right there with Bulova for sure. Cartier, I'm going to put also at the B tier, although they can belong in the A tier. Their Collection Privée is second to none. It's absolutely spectacular, and their new Cartier Montpoussoir is amazing. Amazing, amazing watches. Casio, I know most people will put it in S tier. Incredible value for money. Again, I'm looking at it from a standpoint of traditional handmade watches, kind of traditional watchmaking, so I'm going to put them at I'm actually going to put them in the C tier. I think a lot of what they do is actually really, really good, and I think they're a great watch brand, and so they actually deserve kudos because value for money is a very important thing that people don't prize enough in the watch industry, and I definitely do, and Casio is right up there as the best in the industry in terms of value for money. Certina, I'm going to put in the C tier. Not something I'm too familiar with, but they make some decent watches. Chanel, I'm going to put at the B tier. Totally fair. Chopard, again, because of all the reasons I listed with Bulgari, I wouldn't put them at that high-level independent phase. I think they're kind of a really high-level A tier, but they're not quite at the S tier level currently. Christopher Ward, again, another C tier brand. I think that's pretty great value for money. Citizen, I would put at the D tier because, again, great brand, but just not in that upper echelon, I would say. Creedor, if I had to estimate, I think I would put them in the A tier, just because they make some exceptional watches, all handmade. The finishing is exceptional, but they haven't really made their bones in kind of the complications, which I would like to see them do. Kind of venture out into your more traditional watchmaking side of things, outside of just incredible finishing and dial work. But amazing watches, definitely can belong in S tier. I'm going to put them in A tier. Chopek, likewise, I'm going to put them in A tier. An amazing independent watch brand, but they're just not up there with the higher level independents. De Bethune, very easy for me. S tier brand, amazing watches, amazing concept. Love the watches, love the ingenuity, and also love the extremely distinct format with which De Bethune watches are made, and the innovation is just incredible. They belong in S tier, no doubt. Doxa, I'm going to put in, I think I'm going to put Doxa in the B tier. I really like Doxa's history, their dive watch history specifically. I like their watches overall in terms of designs. Very, very cool stuff. And yeah, I think they belong in B tier. Ebel is one that is a tricky one. It's one that's totally fallen from grace. For those who don't know, in the 90s, Ebels were extremely popular in collectible wristwatches that house Zenith El Primero movements, but now they're just not great watches. I'm going to put them in D tier. FP Journe, another easy pick that's going to be an S tier brand. I don't think much needs to be said. Probably the greatest or one of the greatest watchmakers of this generation, and arguably one of the greatest watchmakers of all time. Frank Muller, I'm going to put at the B tier. For the same reasons as Blancpain. They make a lot of nice grand complication stuff, but their stuff is just boring. It's played out, it's tired. I'd like to see them do something new and fresh and inventive with the brand that we haven't seen in a long time. I think they really need a breath of fresh air, and yeah, I think it belongs in the B tier. Frederic Constant, I'm going to also put in the B tier. Very, very solid brand, great quality, great value for money, but I think that they belong in the B tier. Likewise, the same with Girard-Perregaux. For me, I'm not a big Girard-Perregaux fan, never have been, so they can belong in the A tier. You know, they're right up there with JLC in terms of watchmaking pedigree. I think they're one of the most underrated watch brands, but they're just not a brand that does it for me personally. So again, this is a personal list. I'm just going to put them in B tier. Glashütte Original, I'm actually going to surprisingly put it in A tier. I think it definitely belongs in A tier. Some of the best watches in the industry. And I think the finishing for the money is way better than any Swiss counterpart. IWC, JLC, you name it. I think for the money, Glashütte is as good as it gets, if not the best at that kind of price point. Especially pre-owned, the value is incredible. Grand Seiko, I'm going to put at, that's a tough one. I'm kind of between A and B tier. I think I'm going to put them in like a high B tier. Actually, no, I'm going to put them at an A tier. I'll put them at a low A tier. Great watches, love the dials, love the ingenuity. I wasn't a huge fan of the spring drive movement, but I've really come around to it to appreciate the mechanics of it. I think it's pretty impressive what they've been able to do in that time format and the accuracy that they're able to achieve. I think it belongs in the A tier. Groenfeld, another easy one that's an S tier brand, independent watchmaker, worked at Renault Papi. The brothers are just spectacular. What they're able to achieve is just incredible. So yeah, definitely an S tier brand. Hamilton, great value for money. That's an easy one. That's a C tier for me. Hermes, actually a great watch brand. They make a lot of nice stuff. I would put them at a B tier. I don't think that they're in that upper echelon of watch brands, but I think they definitely belong in the conversation. So higher level B tier. And I'm actually going to do one change. I think I'm going to move Cartier up to an A tier. I think it makes sense for them to go up there. H. Moser, another A tier brand. Great watches, great complications. I wouldn't put them up against the higher level independents. I think that they belong in the A tier. Great ingenuity, love the dials, love the design. I think they're just making too many watches. I think if they scaled back and just focused on the quality of the movements, especially the finishing a little bit more, where now they kind of have more machine finished stuff, I think they would really get into that upper level S tier. Hublot, I'm actually not a Hublot hater. I like the brand. I think that they make some great value for money. Watches, especially pre-owned, you can pick up some incredible deals. I'm going to put them at the B tier. I think that's totally fair. Listen, does it have the watchmaking pedigree like some other brands? No, but they're able to make some crazy complications. They deserve to be respected. I could even make the argument that they belong in A tier, but for me personally, I'm going to put them in B tier. Invicta, that's an easy F. I don't think any explanation needs to be done there. Terrible watch brand, terrible watches. Avoid them at all costs. That's all I can pretty much say. IWC, that's an easy one. That's an A tier. Doesn't belong with the high-level independents and kind of your Patek and Langas, but definitely an A tier watch brand. Some of the best watches in the industry. And for the same reasons, I'm also going to put JLC at the A tier. Definitely, you can make the argument that JLC belongs in the S tier, but I think of late, the quality of JLC watches maybe isn't to the level it was, like, let's say a decade ago even. I think their releases at the super high level have been spectacular, but kind of at the entry level, they're just really rechanging dials and designs and stuff like that. But, they've come out with a lot of nice releases like the JLC reversal chronograph I really enjoyed, but I think they belong at that A tier. I really would like to see them step it up and go to kind of some more inventive and unique stuff, like some enamel dials or skeleton dials that they did in the past that they just don't do anymore. Laurent Ferrier, another amazing independent watchmaker, S-tier brand for sure. The finishing is second to none, and the watches are just amazing. Longines, I'm actually going to put at a high C tier, C or B. Oh, this is a tough one. Longines is such an amazing brand. It's so hard to rate them because, again, it's that value for money. I'm going to put them at B just because of the value for money. I think they make some amazing, super interesting designs. And I think in terms of like the actual watches themselves, they're super compelling for the price point. So I'm going to put them at B tier. Again, I really value for money, and Longines is right up there with the best in the industry. Louis Erard is not a brand I'm too familiar with. I'm honestly not sure where to rank them other than kind of the C-ish tier. I know they make some nice watches. They have some interesting collaborations, but it's just not a watch brand for me. Maine, I honestly don't know what this is, to be completely honest. So I'm just going to put them in F tier. Hopefully they're not a great watch brand, and I'm just totally messing them up. Maurice Lacroix, C tier. Nothing too interesting there. It's not my kind of stuff. MB&F, very easy S tier watch brand. Absolutely amazing watches. Personally, my favorite brand in the industry. I would love to own an LM101 or LM2, LM1 at some point in the future. And my Grail watch is an LM Perpetual. So, they have to be an S tier for me. Mito, another great value for money watch brand. I'm going to put them at C tier. I think they definitely belong there, but the quality is certainly there for the watches. Now, Montblanc is a tough one. For those who don't know, I actually just recently purchased a Montblanc monopusher chronograph with a Minerva movement, which I think is a unicorn in the industry. Incredible value for a monopusher chronograph finished to the highest level. I can make the argument that's an A tier watch right there. But I think given their overall line, I think C is probably fair. Good value for money watches. The designs are pretty interesting. I really like a lot of the new releases they've done over the last couple of years, and I'm glad to see Richemont is investing in Montblanc and their watches. I think they definitely deserve it. Nomos, I'm actually going to put at a B tier. I think for the money and the finishing, the quality, the complications that they're able to execute at their price point are some of the best in the industry, and I think they really belong in the B tier. Amazing watches, and I'm a big fan of Nomos. I'm actually going to put Omega at the A tier. I think Omega definitely deserves it. I love Omega's watches. Timeless classics across the range, Seamaster, Speedmaster, all that kind of good stuff. And they've shown they're able to make higher level complications to where they belong kind of in the lower end A tier. Maybe they don't compare with like a Chopard, for example, but I would put Omega in the A tier personally. Orient, pretty easy one for me. I'm going to put them, again, I think the value for money is there. I'm going to put them in a C tier. I think they belong there. And likewise with Oris, although Oris quality is very good, value for money is certainly there. They can be in a B tier. It's just not a brand that personally does it for me. I don't really find their watches too interesting, so I'm going to put them in C tier. Panerai, super easy one. That's a B tier watch. I know they come out with some crazy complications, the tourbillons, all that kind of stuff. I don't think that's the true kind of essence of Panerai watches, although it's very impressive they're able to do that. I think kind of having the value for money, Luminor, Radimirs, all those kind of interesting designs, that's where their strong suit is, and that's where they should kind of stick around. But yeah, I love Panerai. I love the watch brand. I think it's an easy B tier brand for me. Parmigiani Fleurier, another one that's a little bit tough. A lot of machine finished stuff. Obviously, they're one of the few vertically integrated manufacturers. I'm going to put them at the A tier. I think lower end A tier is where they belong. Really interesting stuff. A lot of interesting complications and designs and stuff like that. And I really like the new CEO. I think the direction is that he's kind of been focused with the brand is a breath of fresh air. So I think A tier is a good place. Patek Philippe, pretty easy. I think that everybody knows I'm going to put them in S tier. I think they are the most prestigious and arguably the greatest brand in the industry. So that's a pretty easy one for me to rank. Oh man, Piaget, I think another great watch brand. I'm going to put them in the A tier. Don't think they're at that higher level, but A tier is totally fair. Let's rapid fire through the rest of these. We got Rado. Rado I'm going to put at C tier. Again, great value for money. I think that's where it belongs. Restance I'm actually going to put at a B tier. Great quality, great value for money. Especially pre-owned, you can get some great deals. And I love the interesting time format with which their watches are made. Very unique. And so I think B tier is definitely where they belong. RGM, that's a good question. I'd probably put them at the B tier, although you can make the argument A tier. USA-made watches, awesome timepieces, but they're just not personally for me design-wise. There's something missing. Richard Mille, S tier brand for sure. Love Richard Mille watches. I don't think the innovation is there like it was 10, 15 years ago, but it still belongs in the S tier brand. They're one of the best in the industry for sure. Likewise for Roger Dubuis, I'm really excited for the future of Roger Dubuis. I know of something that's coming up. New release. Guys, stay tuned. I think Roger Dubuis is going to be doing some big things over the next couple of years. A lot of interesting complications. And their new stuff that's coming out, I'm so excited for because I've been clamoring for this to come back for a very long time. I also really enjoyed the new kind of titanium sports watch that they released. I think those are some amazing designs. They have a great blank canvas they can build a whole line off of, and I'm really excited to see what they do with it. Rolex, maybe surprising to some people, I'm actually going to also put in the A tier. The reason being is this. Sure, they don't have the high-end finishing of like a Chopard or a Creedor, for example, but at what they do, right, the sports watch, they make the best sports watch on the market, point blank, period. And I will argue anybody in terms of shock resistance, in terms of timekeeping accuracy, in terms of rates of failure, the level of precision they're able to achieve across the 1 million plus watches a year that they make. It's simply spectacular. Their designs are flawless, timeless classics, always iconic no matter what they release. And so I think they belong in that A tier. They don't have the watchmaking pedigree in terms of the finishing, but for what they do, sports watches able to take a beating, they are the very best in the industry. So for that, given the genre that they operate in, I think they're in A tier. Seiko, I'm going to put in C tier. Again, value for money. Likewise with Zinn. Tag Heuer, I'm also going to put in C tier. I think some of the stuff that they've been kind of doing is interesting, but honestly, their price points have gone crazy. I think Tag Heuer should really come down in price, and unfortunately, that's never going to happen. And so for me, they're going in C tier. Timex is going to be like a D tier, very entry-level brand. Tissot, very easy C tier, entry-level, great value for money. Trilog is another B tier, great independent watch brand. I don't know, there's something about those watches that just don't do it for me. They have some nice movements, nice concepts, and nice designs, but they're just not for me personally. Tudor, very easy one. That's going to be a B brand. Although you can easily make the argument that they are A quality because of the value for money. I think they're right up there with Omega in terms of kind of the entry-level timepiece. For a while, I was saying, the Omega Speedmaster replaced kind of the Rolex Submariner as the first kind of entry-level luxury watch that people will gravitate towards. But I think definitely, without question, since the release of the Tudor Black Bay 58, it is that go-to kind of sports watch, just due to the value for money, the timeless design, and it's just an incredible timepiece. UN, again, another easy one. I'm going to put them at A tier. They definitely belong there just because incredible watchmaking, incredible finishing, but I wouldn't put them in the high-level independents and the other brands that I think are just a little bit better. Unimatic, great value for money, interesting, cool concept and designs. That's a C tier. Vacheron Constantin, personally my favorite brand, or one of my favorite brands other than MB&F. I'm putting them at S tier. Great watches, incredible watchmaking, and the oldest continuous, not just the oldest continuous, but the oldest watch brand in the world since 1755. They are amazing. I'm in love with Vacheron, so S tier brand for me very easily. Zenith for me is going to go into the B tier. I love the El Primero movement. History is there, but it just feels like they're just doing a lot of the same releases over and over and over again. And I don't know, there's just something missing. I think that they just need to do something a little bit different to capture my attention a little bit more. And last but not least, wrapping up this list is Zodiac. Again, great value for money wristwatch. I'm going to put them right there in the C tier. Interesting designs and great timepieces. So guys, that's my list. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I think this is a very fair list based on my rankings. Maybe Rolex is a little bit high, but I don't know. I think they definitely belong in the A tier watch brand because what they make for the money is the very best in that genre. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Of course, guys, feel free to do your own list and share with me. I'm always interested to know your thoughts. Let me know down in the comments how I did. And of course, guys, be sure to like the video and subscribe, of course, to this channel if you enjoy this type of content. My name is Marco, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.